Hello everyone, this is Madhishwar. I have 11 plus years of IT experience. I have worked for Standard Chartered Bank for 5.5 years, Bank of America for 1.5 years, then I started Ignite Minds. We are operating for more than 5 years. One of our major vertical is providing training for working professionals in US, UK, Australia as well as in India, and we also provide training programs as a direct client for corporate companies in India as well as in US. For people in US, UK, Australia, we provide training programs through online. Our major vertical is scripting technology and automation. We have training programs in various scripting technologies like shell scripting, Perl, Python, Ruby. In all these languages, we not only have the base course, we have advanced levels of training program for automation testing as well as for web development. Today we are going to see a demo session for Python training. In Python training, we are going to cover from the scratch like what is Python, how it works in Linux, Windows, Mac, its data structures, arrays, lists, tuple, dictionary, sets, string formatting, reading and writing informations into a file, built-in functions, user-defined functions, object-oriented programming, classes, inheritance, regular expressions, pattern matching, grouping, advanced regular expressions, scoping of the data, database communication in Python. So this is the course content of our training program. Now we are going to start with the basics. What is Python? Python is a general purpose interpreted, interactive, object oriented and high level programming language. So here comes a question, what is interpreted? Let me open a text pad. So general purpose interpreted. Python is an interpreted language. Here comes the question, what is interpreted language? In general, we have two types of programming languages. One is called compiled language, another one is called interpreted language. So here comes the question, what is this compiled language? Compiled language means it is a program which we will write the source code. Source code means just the program. This source is in human readable format. It is in ASCII format. It cannot be directly executed in the electronic device, that is laptop or a PC or a server. So the source code has to be executed only after compilation. So we need a compiler. What this compiler will do is it will convert the source code which is in human readable format into a machine readable format, which we call it as binary or exe file. Whenever we need output, we will double click this exe file or the binary file and we get the output. A language which executes like this is called compiled language. Example is C, C++, all are compiled languages. So for all these languages, you need a compiler. On the other hand, we have another type of language which is called interpreted language. Once again, we'll write the program which is called as source code. This source code is once again in a human readable format in interpreted language. That is, technically it is in ASCII format. It cannot be directly executed. But instead of having a compiler, we will be having a interpreter. So what the interpreter will do is, it will read the program like how we read a newspaper. Normally, how we read a newspaper, we will start from the left hand side, we will read one sentence, we will understand that, then we will read the second sentence, understand that, then we will read the third sentence, understand that, like that we go from top to bottom. Similar way, the interpreter will read one line of program, understands it, executes it, then it will read the second line of program, understands it, executes it, then it will read the third line of program, understands it, executes it. So immediately you will get the output. So these are the two styles of languages which is available. Whenever you have any technology, always there will be some advantage as well as disadvantage. So here comes a question: what is the advantage of compiled language and what is the advantage of interpreted language, as well as what is the disadvantage of compiled language and what is the disadvantage of interpreted language. So the advantage of compiled language is, compiled languages will always be little faster than interpreted language. Little faster means you cannot see in your eyes. In some nanoseconds level, it will be little faster. The reason is the source code is there. I'm using a compiler, I'm converting it into a binary file, that is exe file. Whenever I need output, I'm going to just execute the exe file, I'm going to get the output. In case of interpreted language, the source code is there, it is in human readable format. The interpreter has to read the source code, understands it, converts it into binary, execute it. So you get the output. For the second time, once again the source code is in human readable format. Once again the interpreter has to read the code, converts into binary in such a way that the system understands it, and then it gets the output. So each and every time the interpreter will do a overhead job of conversion, so it will be little slower. So here comes the question: what is the advantage of interpreted language over compiled language? Let's consider this small example. Let's assume I have a line of code called a equal to 10. I want to change this value from 10 to 5. In this case, I'm making a very small change, but in compiled language, once again, I have to do the process of compilation. It is process oriented. Compilation can fail due to compilation error or due to manual error. Whatever might be the reason, if the compilation fails, you will not get the executable. If you didn't get the executable, then you cannot execute the code. You cannot see the output. It will drag the development time. In case of interpreted language, then and there, whatever file you want, you can execute and see the output. So development time will be lesser in interpreted language when compared to compiled language. So Python is a general purpose interpreted language. So it is going to execute the code line by line from top to bottom. So Python needs an interpreter. You need to install Python interpreter in your machine. So we will be using Python interpreter. The source code is there. That is the code which we write. Python interpreter reads the source code, executes it line by line from top to bottom. So immediately you get the output. It is interactive. So Python can get informations from GUI as well as from text mode. You can have interactive programs, and it is more readable. So you can write a program in such a way that it interacts with the human to get some informations then and there if required. Object oriented, like Java, Python is also object oriented language. Similar to Java, Python also can do all what Java can do. And high level programming language, it is not primarily used for low level programming. Low level programming means a program which runs in the hardware layer. That is, the example is, let's consider the hardware. Hardware means your laptop or PC or any server. In order to operate this hardware, first we will install a software which is called operating system. Each and every operating system will have its own GUI layer or a text-based layer. As a human, we will be always on top of this layer. We will be interacting with all the hardware components in our system, laptop or server through the GUI layer. A program which runs in this stack, example, device driver. In general, it is called low-level programming. That is a program which efficiently communicates with the hardware, underlying hardware, and gives the output to the upper GUI layer. These device drivers will not have jazzy look and feel. In general, even today, compiled languages are majorly preferred for device driver development, operating system development. Linux is written in C, Unix is written in C. Lot of device drivers are written in C even till now. High level programming means a program which runs in this stack. In general, a program which is used by human to communicate. It will have a jazzy look and feel. It will have a lot of windows. So for developing applications like that, Python is majorly used. But still, Python can also be preferred for writing programs which interacts with the hardware. As of today, Python is majorly preferred as a replacement of C in embedded systems. Because writing a code in C is much complicated. So, a lot of embedded applications are being developed in Python. Python is used in medical industry. So Python is one of the language which can be used for high level programming as well as for low level programming, but still it is not majorly preferred for low level programming, but it can do low level programming also. You can write socket programming, multi-threading, multi-processing, all the concepts are possible in Python. The next concept which we are going to see is called shebang. Shebang means hash knot. So this is a concept which is used by the operating system, not by the Python interpreter. In general, in Unix flavored operating system, we have this particular concept called shebang. This concept is not applicable for Windows operating systems because Windows operating system works based on extension. If I say .exe, then it is executable file. If I say .xls, it is Excel file. If I say .doc, it is document file. Windows operating system uses extensions to identify how to execute a code. Unix flavored operating systems does not use extensions. Here comes a question, what is Unix flavored operating system? Unix flavored operating system means Linux, HP Unix, Solaris, AIX, Mac, all these operating systems falls under Unix flavored operating system. That is, these are all Unix family operating systems derived from Unix. All these operating system does not use extension concept. But few minutes back I told you that Python extension will be .py. So if I have a file called hello, I'll be having an extension called .py. This .py extension is used by the humans to understand it is a Python program. It is not used by the operating system, either Linux or Mac. It does not need it. So here comes a question, whether can I have a Python file which does not have .py extension? Yes, you can have. Whether it will work? Yes, it will work. But that is not a standard way of writing code. So the standard is you need to have .py as the extension. Windows operating system uses extensions to identify how to execute. But Unix flavored operating system does not use any extensions. So here comes a question, then how it will identify how to execute? For that they use shebang code. Shebang code means it is hash not 2 characters. It should be in files first 2 characters. It should be in first line first 2 characters. You should not give space, then it will not accept. You should not write it in the second line, it will not accept. It should be files first 2 characters. Hash not is called shebang. This is used to identify the interpreter, how to execute. Windows operating system will use extensions. Unix flavored operating system, let's consider Mac or Linux, does not use extensions. Let's assume I have 2 lines of code. Now I need to execute these 2 lines of code. For this I will use shebang, and in shebang I will specify how to execute these 2 lines. So shebang is a concept which is used to specify how to execute these 2 lines. So now these 2 lines will be executed by Python interpreter. If I say bin bash, now these 2 lines are executed using bash, that is a shell script. That is the default shell for Linux and Mac. So shebang code is used to specify how to execute the program in Unix flavored operating system, that is in Linux, Mac. This is not a concept which is used by Python. So in Windows this concept is not required, you need not write. But for Linux and Mac, when you write it, it is a standard. Even in Linux and Mac, without a shebang code, a code can get executed. That we'll be seeing in the upcoming slide. So this is not a mandatory concept, it is a standard. Why it is a standard? Because by default 6 interpreters will be there in Mac, 5 interpreters will be there in Linux. Shell is an interpreter, sed is an interpreter, awk is an interpreter, perl is an interpreter, python is an interpreter. 5 interpreters will be there in Linux. In Mac, along with all these 5, you will have Ruby also, 6 interpreters, and you can have different versions also. So minimum 6 interpreters will be there in Mac. Out of the 6, how to execute should be specified, and that is a standard. So we use shebang code. Next is writing a hello world program. You can write a hello world program in any editor, or you can use any IDE. You have to type these 2 lines of code. The first line of the code specifies the shebang code. This is not mandatory for Windows. Second line says print hello world. Print is a method which is used to print anything on the screen. If you say print USA, it will print USA. If you say print UK, it will print UK. So whatever information you say, it will print on the screen. Here I am saying hello world, so it will print hello world. To execute the code, I will say python space hello.py. Now it executes and it prints the information hello world. The same can be executed in another style also. So for that, first we need to give the execution rights. This concept is applicable only for Linux and Mac. Chmod is a command which is available only in Linux and Mac, and this is applicable only for Linux and Mac, not for Windows. Now I have given executable permission. Executable permission means now only it can get executed. /hello.py. I can execute like this in Linux and Mac. Now in this case, the operating system does not know what interpreter to use. So now the operating system will look for the shebang code and execute the program according to the shebang code. In the first style, python space hello.py, in this style of execution, I am explicitly specifying Python interpreter and passing the file name as an argument to Python interpreter. So the operating system will not look for shebang code. Even in Linux and Mac, if I execute using Python space file name, then the operating system will not look for shebang code. If I execute it like /hello.py, in this case, it will look for the shebang code because it does not follow the extension concept. So even in Linux and Mac, shebang code is not mandatory. It can get executed without shebang code also, but it is a standard. If you write with shebang code, it makes it more executable. In any scenario, it will get executed. So as a standard, you should write shebang code for all the Python programs, in general for all the scripting technologies. With this, we are coming to an end for our demo session. You can contact us in these details. We have two numbers, one for US, one for India. Our website detail is www.igniteminds.com. Our email address is contactus@igniteminds.com. You can reach us in WhatsApp also. Our WhatsApp number is +918122331111. And you can also ping us through Skype. Our Skype ID is igniteminds.india. Thank you for watching the video. Have a good day.